ATN right now. My mother cut my hair for 23 years. She was a hairdresser, so there's nothing strange here. She had a shop, a beauty shop. Sometimes haircuts were great. Sometimes they were distracted by our parent-child relationship. If it was a distracted haircut, my parents took me out for dinner. In 23 years, there were not many distracted haircuts that required a dinner. But to this day, I can see the ceramic owl tip jar and the sign next to the mirror in her shop that said, "This is a comb, not a wand." I can smell perm solution and Aquanet. In all those haircuts, all those years, there was one thing, though, one thing that my mother never did. I didn't realize this omission until Kathy and I moved to New Jersey. After a few months in Princeton, my hair grew beyond acceptable boundaries. Having no money, I took the clippers for the dog and tried my hand at cutting my own hair. My lack of success was deemed a concentration camp look. To the lack of skill, Kathy declared, "No matter how poor we are, someone will cut your hair." Once my clear-cut stubble grew to a forest yet again, I ventured to Nassau Street with $20 in hand. Sitting in a barber shop felt exotic. I grew up in beauty shops, so this was an unknown land. The walls were filled with pictures of college football teams and baseball teams and, of course, basketball teams. It took me a bit to see the protocol: take a seat, read a magazine, and wait for a barber to give you a nod. Given the nod, I ventured forth. I sat in the chair, I extended my neck for the drape, all good. And then the disaster occurred. The barber, a short, surly, quite hairy Italian man with a fair amount of hair product in his own coif, turned to me and said, "What do you want?" I panicked. My mind raced. What do I want? I don't know. I don't know. My mother never asked me. Breaking the silence that felt eternal, I mustered enough voice to say, "Shorter. I want it shorter." The barber gave me an instructive look. The look taught me that was a dumb thing to say. Have a better response next time. Many years later now, I got it. I know what I want. I want it short on the sides, thinned on the top, and leave some length in the front. I know what I want now. Sometimes simple questions have great potency. What happened? Are you hurt? Are you all right? Do you love me? Marriages, families, lives have hung in the balance of such questions. What do you want? Simple question to ask. Sometimes not so simple to answer. What do you want? It's a simple question of desire. We all have desires. Some desires are good, some are bad. We all have enjoyed moments of clarity when we say, "I know exactly what I want." And we all have most likely lived and wasted a good portion of our life trying to figure out what it is we actually desire. Not always clear. Bob Dylan said, "I've got mixed up confusion. Man, it's killing me." A few years ago, Kathy and I spent a few weeks in New Mexico. We were in a retreat at Ghost Ranch being trained in the Quaker practices of clearness committees. A clearness committee is based upon the idea that we live our lives not in tune with our own heart. We have vague ideas of what we want, a sense of happiness, and this works until our lives change. We reach a dead end, a turning point. In these moments, we need clarity. We need to know what we really want. The Quaker practice is to have someone sit in front of 3 people, and the one who sits there talks for 40 minutes uninterrupted. And then for 20 minutes, the 3 listeners ask open-ended questions. They give no advice. They give no suggestions. Their questions are only meant for clarity, for greater depth. You ask questions only to help someone hear their heart. And then for 10 minutes, the person with the confusion speaks. Had I not witnessed this, I'm not sure I would have believed it. But the person with the confusion experiences the most profound clarity. He or she may not find an answer, but now the question is clear. The one who was struggling realizes the questions that they came with were all wrong, a dodge, a falsity. Whatever it is, there's a moment where the light floods the heart, where the soul finds clarity. A person mixed up feels at home in his or her own skin. The heart becomes clear. It's a lovely thing to watch. The clearness, though, makes it plain. We don't really take time to listen to our heart, not even for an hour. We listen to worry, to dread, to flights of fantasy. The heart, not so much. Our passage today is about desire. 3 different desires. 3 moments of begging for something desired. We can miss the begging and the desire because the story is wild. Bizarre is a fair response to this story. Legion is wild. He breaks chains. He howls at the moon. There is a herd of swine and a horde of demons. The townspeople ask Jesus to take off, to leave. And the new convert is told he can't follow them. The common thread of begging weaves all the wildness together. The demons beg, the townsfolk beg, the healed man begs. Begging is a leitmotif. I like to say leitmotif. Begging is desire. The demons desire one thing. They want more destruction. The townsfolk desire the strange and frightening would leave them. The healed man wants to follow Jesus. The demons, the townsfolk, the healed folk, beggars all. Jesus yields to desires of the demons and the townsfolk. He gives them what they want. The demons get death and destruction in the pigs. And Jesus doesn't stay in Gadara. He takes off. Jesus denies the desire of the healed man. The man begs to follow him, and Jesus says, go home. Talk to your friends, to your family. Now, thank goodness we're not possessed by a legion of demons, but we do have destructive desires. The demons want more destruction. They want more evil, more darkness. They have wrong desires. All of us have desired the wrong thing. We've all desired something good so much it becomes evil. Is that not the definition of addiction? We can all desire a good thing and want it too much, so it destroys us. We're not afraid of Jesus, the cosmic Jesus who is the resurrected Lord. But when our lives are turned upside down, when the definitions to which we tightly hold dissolve, we are afraid. We're mixed up, confused. What was supposed to be sure is unclear. What was right there is now gone. Here we know what we don't want. We don't want chaos and the crazy. We don't want things to change or leave us behind. It took a lot of work to get things right. Jesus doesn't make any sense to the townsfolk. But the curious thing is, Jesus doesn't try to explain. He doesn't argue with them. They don't want him around, and so he leaves. We can judge them and say, hey, you had the greatest gift right in front of you. How could you miss it? But we reject good things all the time. Most of us can point to a moment where we missed a great opportunity because we didn't understand what was in front of us. We weren't ready. We didn't know our heart yet. The last request is the most intriguing. Making bad choices, wanting destruction. We've all walked that path. And being confused and not ready, not clear about your heart, and that's not much of a stretch to imagine either. But the desire to follow Jesus is good. Why would Jesus say no? If I hadn't sat in the New Mexico desert learning Quaker discernment practices, I don't think I would get this one. But the answer to the denial of the healed man is found in a subtle distinction. The distinction is this: desiring what is good is not the same as having the right desire. Subtle, but powerful. The man with the demons was healed. He offered his life to Jesus, and Jesus said, no. The man's heart desired the good, but it wasn't the right desire for him. Jesus told him the right desire: go home, be with your family, your friends. This was the right desire. Everyone here has good desires. We want to help. We want everyone to be happy. We don't desire bad things for the most part, or wish people ill often. And we want to trust others. We want to hope for the best. And most importantly, we want love to guide us, define us. In the exchange between Jesus and the man who was healed is the subtle distinction that can change everything. Wanting what is good, knowing what is good, takes a lot of effort. Not being led by wrong desires can prove a tough row to hoe. What do you want? Can take a while to answer that question. Yet none of these offer clarity to the denial of Jesus. The man wanted to follow him. Jesus said no. Nothing wrong in the desire to follow Jesus, just not the right thing for the healed man to do. Knowing the good doesn't necessarily mean you've discerned what's right. We could all make a list of good things, good projects, good directions, good ideas, lots and lots of possibilities. Yet the power is not found in the possibility. The power is found in listening to the direction of Jesus. We find power when we hear Jesus say to us, go in this direction, do this thing, live in this way, in this place, in this time. In our passage today, there's a path. The path begins with wrong desire. It passes through confusion and finds resolution in good desire. But the path is not complete until we hear Jesus say, go this way, go home, talk to your folks, your friends. I'm pretty sure most of us spend time at different parts of this path, different points. Wrong desires are not unique. Destructive behavior has a lot of options, and it seems to entangle all of us. And mixed up confusion can last for a long, long time. I asked a friend who has done decades of counseling about this confusion, the fear of knowing what you want or don't want. He said a lot of people don't want to know what they want. Too much fear of being judged. Too much fear of knowing clearly who you are. Because then you'd have to live it. The man who was healed of the legion of demons wanted to follow Jesus. Jesus sent him home. He listened. Mark says the people were amazed. Usually the conclusion of a healing story is that the people are amazed with the one who healed. In our story, there's something unique. The people are amazed, he says, with the one who was healed. Maybe the way to hear this is to say, if you can find what is the right desire and live it at home with family and friends, That's pretty amazing. Not easy, but amazing. Like you, I have different parts of my life on different places along the path. I don't always know the right desire, but I do know how to live it. Jesus said, go home. Tell your friends and your family of the good of your heart, the freedom you found, what the Lord has done for you. Most of the time, what is amazing is what is simple and honest and right. Live at home in honesty and freedom. Sounds amazing. Sounds like the right thing to me. How about you? What do you want?